Today we're looking at question tags. Now, first and foremost, it's necessary to define what a question tag is. Now, a question tag is a device used at the end of a statement or a sentence to turn it into a question. Now, we should understand here that many times we ask people questions and people also ask us questions. And then when these questions are asked, what do they demand? They demand answers. Now, how do we demand answers? When the question is asked, it requires a response. Now, you would have to think, okay, how do I answer this person? You know, what kind of question is the person asking me? And how do I respond to this question? Now, you say, this is done with the aim of trying to unconsciously persuade listeners to agree with the sentence. Okay? It is done in order to make you to unconsciously agree with what the person is saying. Now, we go further to say, usually this kind of sentence is partly a statement and partly a question. Now, the first part of this question tag is mainly a statement, and then it's the second part that we have as a question. So when you put both together, it is no longer a declarative sentence as it is. It now becomes a question tag. Now we say the tag varies according to the content of the statement. In other words, different situations will require different questions and different question tags. Furthermore, we say the tag uses the same verb as the sentence but reverses it. The tag uses the same verb as the sentence but reverses it. How does it reverse it? It asks a question. We say, therefore, if the statement is positive, the question tag is negative. And if the question tag is negative, the question tag will be what? Positive. Now, I didn't want to bug you so much. That's why I put vice versa. Now, we say, again, the tenses of the verb must agree in tense and number. We go to the uses of the question tag. Now, we have three uses here as I have outlined here. It says the first is a question tag, most importantly, changes a statement into a question. Now, what happens is this: you ask a question, all right? Now, the first thing you have is a statement. You have a statement, and then it is turned into what? A question. 2, it is used to check if someone agrees with what you have said. I ask you a question. Did you eat today? Okay, I say, okay, you ate today. Didn't you? Now, there are two thoughts in your head, either to answer yes or to answer no. So it is used to check if someone agrees with what you have said. Now, it is used to affirm a rhetorical question. A rhetorical question here is that kind of question that doesn't require a response from some other person. If I ask a question, ordinarily it is expected that I will answer the question. We go further to the uses examples of question tags. We say number 1, all the women were in church, weren't they? Now, if you look here, this is a statement. All the women were in church. Now, that's the first part. Now, we said that the question tag has two parts. It has a statement, and thereafter it has a question. Now, the second part here is a question. Weren't there? All the women were in church. Weren't there? You have the statement, which is a declarative sentence, and then here you have a question tag. The second part of the second example says, she was in class. Wasn't she? The third one is, she is a seamstress. Isn't she? So what we have here for today's lesson is the question tag, the use of the question tag, and examples. Now, of course, to go over the lesson, we told you that a question tag is a device used at the end of a statement or a sentence. Now, it therefore means that a question tag must be used, or it is usually found at the end of a statement or a sentence. Now what does it do? It turns it into a question. That is, it turns that statement or that sentence into a question. This is done with the aim of trying to unconsciously persuade listeners to agree with the sentence.